Good morning. Oh, it's a bit dim in here today. Um, I've been asked quite a few questions lately. Oh, sorry about my headset. Love that, don't you? About homeschooling, and so I just wanted to do a quick video, or maybe not so quick. I always promise that they're quick, but this one will involve a little bit of detail about what is actually required and what it's all about. So firstly, I'm not a teacher, but I think hands down, teaching your children is a lot easier than parenting your children. So if you're parenting them, then high five to you. And teaching is really what you've been doing since the day they were born. So homeschooling is just an extension of that. Don't think that you need to have special skills or qualifications, because you will find the resources that you need. So I obviously started because my daughter was struggling at school. And hi, Julie. I'm guessing that's you. Yes, hi. So I started homeschooling not under any illusion that I had it all figured out, because I really didn't. I started because my daughter needed me to, because she's very, very receptive to emotion and energy, and she was not coping with 20-something other kids around her. And I am amazed at how many people talk to me about how their children have changed. Oh, my son's really shut down since he started school. Oh, my daughter's having panic attacks all the time and nightmares, and, she's not coping, but what can I do? Well, I know that homeschooling is not an option for everyone, but there are independent schools, there are alternatives, and I beg you to look into them. But about homeschooling, you have choices there as well. And what gave me the idea, so my basic thought process, I was talking to one of the kids' music teacher, and her daughter is her daughter's a dancer, so she does her core schoolwork through distance ed. And so you can sign up to something like distance ed, and they send you all the coursework, and you just complete it and send it back, and you have that relationship with a school, but you do it from home, so they don't have that pressure of changing teachers and different environments and lots of kids and chaos and all that sort of stuff. Now, that's great if you need that starting point. It can be expensive. You can also do that sort of thing through various Christian schools and other organizations like that, other programs. So look into it, but it can be expensive, as I say. And the other thing is, you're still doing the school curriculum in some form. So what I struggled with for my daughter, she was bored at school. She found the repetition of concepts really, really painful. So I thought, well, hang on a second, why would I then bring all that repetition into a home environment where it's just going to cause us more stress and strain on our relationship, which was already under a lot of stress because she wasn't coping with school. So there are a few other options. So you can absolutely get it all sent to you and do it from home if that's what works for you. The bare minimum that you're supposed to do is register with the home education unit. So it's part of the Department of Education. You register with the home education unit, and then you send in a program of what you intend to do that year. You're not bound to that program, but it just gives a suggestion that you've looked into resources. You've kind of got a plan of where you're going or what your focus is. Now, my focus the first year with Ariana was not that she topped maths, or my focus was to get her emotionally in a better position, in a better place. So, they when you, particularly in Queensland, when you sign up to homeschool your child, you're signing up to say, I take responsibility for their education. And so the education department goes, great, we're here if you need us, but good luck with that. So then you still have options there. So you can, you're reporting. So as I said, you submit a program at the start of the year, and then within 12 months, you are asked to report back on that. And all the reporting entails in Queensland at the moment is to show progress. So you need a couple of work samples with like 3 to 6 months in between, showing progress, showing that you're marking and giving feedback on their progress. And it's in maths, English, and one other subject of your choosing, and that subject can change each year. So that's basically 6 work samples to show progress in English, show progress in maths, and show progress in something else. Now, that felt, I did my first one last year, it felt a lot like I was doing all the homework. But if you are, like if you strategize for, okay, well, what do I need to, like make sure you have a plan for how you're going to get those work samples. Because obviously English isn't so difficult. You get them to write about things that they've done or excursions that they've been on, and you do various things. Maths, you have to be a bit more strategic because they want to see progress in a particular aspect. So you need to sort of plan, okay, what's that? How are we going to look at, 3-dimensional shapes in a couple of different ways or whatever that is. Now, even within that, you have choices because you can go and purchase a curriculum. The government also has curriculum information on their website, or you are pretty much free to set your own and follow as you need. So because a lot of children homeschool because they are struggling in a particular area, or there's something in particular that they might need extra help with, or they might be behind with. So you might not be following grade 2 maths because you might be struggling with those concepts, and you might have to go back a step. And so it's really, as long as you're doing those reports and showing progress and explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it, you are not obliged to follow any particular curriculum. You are not obliged to follow any curriculum, but you can source curriculum. So I did purchase one called Earth Schooling because obviously it looks a lot of natural information, natural sciences, naturopathy. So that resonated for me. I still haven't used it probably as much as I should because we engage with other homeschool groups that coordinate excursions and various activities. And you will find a lot of support groups on Facebook that will help you find your feet in this journey. So connect in with the Facebook groups. I can send you some names of some if you need them. Connect in with the Facebook groups and find ones that resonate. We do a lot of, as I said, we do a lot of excursions and other various coordinated activities as homeschool groups. And also, obviously, there's a lot of after school activities that we can connect in for socially, and also so the kids are pursuing something they're interested in and passionate about. And they don't have the, or quite often, my kids certainly wouldn't have the energy to do that if they were in school 5 days a week as well. So I really wanted them to be able to pursue things that they were passionate about, as well as having that core school work. Now, the thing is, so a lot of the misconceptions are when you homeschool, you have to turn your home into a school. You have to sit down and do your lessons and blah, blah, blah. That is not the case, depending on how you choose to go about it. But that is not the case. So we, as I said, we connect in with a lot of extracurricular stuff and external stuff. We still do the story writing about our various adventures. We still do maths because my kids love it. But it doesn't have to look like sitting down in a classroom. That's not what it's about. It's about finding what works for your children to be engaged with learning and to be following their passions. And there's so many more opportunities for them to do that if they're not exhausted and sitting in a behavioural control environment every day. So what they've found is that when your child is in school, so they're there for 6 hours a day, within that 6 hours between breaks and lining up and disciplining and behaviour control and all that other stuff, they do a maximum of probably about 2 hours of learning, and they get about 10 minutes face-to-face with the teacher, one-on-one. So if you are homeschooling and you're giving your child an hour or two of your time each day, that's about what they're going to get at school. And so anything above and beyond that, and like I said, I'm engaging with my kids all the time. They are also creating their own stuff at home and out and about all the time because they've got that creative, innovative thing going on because they haven't had that stifled yet. They are amazing beings. All children are, of course. It's just whether they get the opportunity to really express that and spend time in their own, really creating what's within them. And there's so much hustle and business now that quite often kids lose a lot of that because they just don't have the downtime to really get busy and create their own stuff and their own ideas. And you don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to subscribe to a particular curriculum. You don't have to sit down and make your house into a classroom. You don't have to make it boring. And the only thing that I've told my kids they have to rote learn is their times tables because I don't know any other way to get that to stick into your head. But anything else comes with exploration and passion and interest and curiosity because they still have that and they are allowed to go and explore that. And my daughter just said, can we find someone that can teach us about mushrooms, because I could sit and draw and talk about mushrooms all day and I'd really like to learn what's poisonous and what's not. And so they seek out information and learning because they just find the world fascinating. So what have I not covered? So you have options. Oh, unschooling. There's also what's called unschooling. And if your child's been in school, hi Kathy, if your child has been in school for a while, it's very worthwhile considering deschooling or unschooling for a while, which is just letting the child not school in any way, shape or form and letting them decompress and it's about reconnecting with that creativity and their own interests. So some people do that as a full-time, that's their school, is the kids just follow their own passions and interests and there is no structure. We do quite a lot of that because, like I said, my kids are connecting into so many different activities and excursions and awesome stuff that's out there. Hi, Evelyn. If you get a chance to go back and look at the video and I haven't answered any questions, please ask, because I'm trying to cover, all the different ways that you can homeschool, and it's a lot of information, and I apologize if I've missed anything, but I think I've kind of ticked most of the boxes about what I learnt when I stepped into it, because I really did have that fear of like, oh, how do I do this? Am I good enough? Can I teach? But I can tell you that no one is more passionate about making sure your kids are okay and your kids are learning and your kids are engaged than you are. So you will find ways, and you'll find a community to support you, and you'll find the information you need. You'll find group excursions and activities. The PCYC at Carindale has just set up a whole 2 afternoons a week of homeschooling group activities, and it's everything. We're getting in science teachers and art teachers, and they're doing trampolining and gymnastics and languages, and you can pick and choose whatever you love. And the kids are having a hard time trying to choose what not to do because they just want to do it all, and it all sounds amazing, and they just love learning and love trying new things. And I would say the one thing I can't get my daughter to do is learn another language, and it comes back to what I was saying earlier about she finds repetition boring. And with languages, there's, particularly to small children, there's a lot of repetition, and she struggles with that. She's like, we did this last week and I already remember, so move on. So might have to do a bit of immersion for any language studies. I don't know where we're going to go, but there's a whole community of homeschoolers out there who choose a variety of different ways. I've got friends who are getting all they've signed up with a Christian school, and they get all of the resources sent to them, and they do it that way, and they sit down for a couple of hours every morning and do their schoolwork, and then can go on to other various activities. I've got friends who unschool and their children just follow whatever they're passionate about and whatever they choose to do. And as I said, we do a lot of that style as well because it just works for us, particularly while they're young. In Scandinavian countries, my kids wouldn't even have started school yet. And there would be very, very minimal hours. And that's where you see the best academic records. So we need to sort of be a little bit aware of our own perceptions around what is a good education, because I think that's the biggest challenge that people really struggle with. We have this perception that children have to be sit down and taught, that we have this perception that if they don't go to school, they will never be able to get a university education, they will never be able to get a job, and they will never be able to X, Y, Z. And in fact, the opposite is true. Homeschooling kids are amazing at connecting with what they're passionate about, and so they go out and seek those opportunities. There's amazing entrepreneurs, there's amazing university educated homeschooling people who, it's just all of those old belief systems are ours. They have been ingrained in us, and we need to really challenge those. And that's probably the biggest hurdle to homeschooling. It's not the doing, it's not the resources, it's all there. It's about getting past those belief systems and those fears that you're somehow crippling your child's education. And I can tell you, the only thing that cripples your child's education is when they lose their love, their natural love of learning, and their natural curiosity and wonderment at the world. That's the only thing that will ever stand between your child and education. So if you can find whatever works, whether it's an independent school, a homeschool, or unschool, whatever works to keep your children passionate about learning and passionate about being curious and exploring the world, then your kids will do very, very well for themselves, because they will go out and they will seek what they're passionate about, and they will make real contribution to this world because they are coming from a place of true love and passion and wonderment. And so that's, I'm not saying you can't do that through the school system, but I'm saying there are increasingly very sensitive, or I don't know, maybe we were shut down a bit more, but I see a lot of really sensitive kids these days who are struggling in the school system, and really the emotional health and the mental health and the physical health, within a month of my daughter starting school, she was having nightmares and panic attacks. By the end of term 1, she was sick, and she did not have more than a day of not being sick until I took her out of school 3 months later. Her immune system was destroyed by this attack on her emotional and mental well-being. So if you see a child that's chronically sick, stress can be a factor. Emotional well-being can be a factor in why they're presenting as being chronically unwell. So, and as I said, look, homeschooling is not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be an option for everyone. But there are a lot of myths about what it looks like. And a lot of people say to me, oh gosh, I couldn't do that. Well, you know what? You can, if you understand that it's not all on you. There are organised groups out there. There are excursions and amazing activities. We're going caving next year, and I'm so excited. And it's not all on you to be the expert at everything, because you will find the resources you need. And it's not all sitting down lecturing your kids for hours and hours every day, because that is not how they best learn. And you do not need to be a teacher. You just need to know that you can tap into whatever you need, and you will find it. And you need to know that if your kids are curious and excited about life and exploring, they will set themselves their own projects and their own learning, and they will go and explore and discover. So it's really powerful to see kids that are engaged and excited and really, and I don't know if I will homeschool forever. What I will say for all those parents who go, oh my goodness, I couldn't do it, absolutely make sure that you have some way to have time to yourself each week. The biggest thing for me was that my husband works 2 jobs. It was very, very difficult for, like, the support wasn't there. So I had to seek out and make sure that I have what I need. And that is at least one day a week where I pay a friend to just babysit, take them. I need that support network, and you will need it. You will need a break of some description, and you need to make sure that you have, and most people have, like, family, in-laws, someone that helps out. I didn't have that, and I had to make sure for my mental health that I really value that. And there was a time where I put it off, and now I really see the difference if I can just make sure that I do that. Life is very, very different for us. And so that, if you think, oh, I couldn't do it, that it would be my number one thing. Make sure you have that support in place, so you have one day a week or so many hours, so many times a week, that you get to focus on you and not think about them for a little while. Because if you don't have that, yeah, absolutely, you can't do it. You will go mental. Been there, done that. So that's a lot of information, and thanks for sticking with me, and I really hope that helps. I have had quite a few inquiries about homeschooling the last couple of weeks, and so I just wanted to offer you an insight into everything that I've learnt. And I will also, you'll always find more information on my website, jenwell.com.au, and I will be posting more and more about our journey on there and what I've learnt. So stay tuned in there, and if you do have specific questions that I can answer, please reach out, because it's not as scary as you think, and it can be, as long as you have that support, so you've got your sanity break, it can be really, really awesome. So that's it from me for today. Have an awesome Sunday, and I'll see you all soon. Okay, take care, guys. Bye.